The sun poured into the bustling streets of Chicago. A perfect start to what I thought would be a typical Friday. Little did I know, the day would spiral into chaos. As I made my way up the polished marble steps of my office building, an uneasy feeling settled in my stomach. Just keep it together, I whispered to myself, brushing away the worries that clung like fog. Walking into the bright fluorescent lit office, the familiar hum of computers and muffled chatter provided a false sense of security. But as soon as I spotted Gregory, my manager, pacing near the break room, my heart started to race. His stern expression was like a thundercloud hanging over my chest. He beckoned me over, and I dutifully approached, my palms sweaty. "Jenna, can we talk?" His voice was flat, devoid of any warmth. I nodded, my stomach churning as we walked to his office. Once inside, he shut the door with a finality that echoed ominously in my ears. "I'm afraid we have to let you go." "What?" "On my day off," I gasped, disbelief gripping me. The room spun around me as the words settled in. Did I do something wrong? He launched into a corporate spiel, drain dry and devoid of empathy. But all I could hear was the thud of my dreams crumbling. As I tried to process the betrayal, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was Rachel, my fiery attorney best friend, Jenna. She exclaimed, her voice a lifeline amid the storm. "What's wrong?" "After 4 years, I'm fired. On my day off." I choked out, emotions bubbling beneath my voice. "Meet me outside. We're taking this to the top," Rachel declared fiercely, her conviction igniting a flame in my heart. In moments, we were huddled outside my old building, the wind biting at our skin, but our resolve burned hotter. "Gregory has no idea who he's messing with," Rachel smirked. But just as we strategized, her phone pinged with an unexpected alert. "Jenna," she said, eyes wide, "there's something you need to see about the company's finances." My heart raced. What had we stumbled into? Before we dive deeper into this shocking twist, a quick reminder for everyone enjoying our story. YouTube has been known to remove subscriptions from time to time, so take a moment to check if you're still subscribed and hit that like button to keep our adventure alive. Now, let's get back to uncovering the truth. Rachel's eyes sparkled with the thrill of the hunt as we leaned closer, her phone illuminating the dimming Chicago skyline. "Look at this," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, her expression a mix of determination and excitement. "These financial reports are more than just numbers. They highlight irregularities spending far beyond what was approved." My heart raced, filling with a blend of adrenaline and anxiety. "What do you mean? How does this connect to my layoff?" I asked, noting the urgency in her tone. "See this?" Rachel pointed, scrolling through the screen. "Extra budget allocation to events and promotions. But to an unknown vendor, someone is funneling money out, Jenna, and they've used you as a scapegoat to cover it up." The realization hit me like a cold bucket of water. My job loss wasn't about my performance. I was just a pawn in their careless game. "We have to take this to the media," I suggested impulsively, fueled by a burning need for justice. But Rachel shook her head. "Not just yet. We need evidence before we blow the lid off this thing. Let's stake this company out. We'll go in under the radar and see what else we can find out." She strategized, her lawyer instincts kicking into high gear. With a determined nod, we decided on our next move. As we retraced our steps back into the office building under the guise of courage, I felt a swell of empowerment. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about exposing the truth, ensuring no one else fell victim to Gregory's ruthless tactics. Just as we strategized, my heartbeat quickened, sensing a lurking presence. Gregory approached, his familiar silhouette darkening the hallway. I exchanged a glance with Rachel, and silently, we braced ourselves. The corporate battleground was about to get intense. Before we leap back into this confrontation, make sure you're ready to join us for the next chapter. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this showdown unfolds. The tension simmered as Gregory approached, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. "What are you two doing back here?" he called out, his voice echoing through the eerily quiet office hall. My heart pounded like a drum in my chest, as I exchanged a quick glance with Rachel, who stood resolute at my side. "We just wanted to tie up a few loose ends," I replied, feigning confidence. "You know, just business as usual." He crossed his arms, sizing us up. "Is that so? I'd suggest you keep your heads down. Rumors have a way of circulating, and I wouldn't want you to get caught in any unnecessary drama." A thinly veiled threat hung in the air. "Thanks for the advice, Gregory. But it seems the only drama around here is coming from your corner," Rachel shot back, her eyes sparkling with defiance. To my surprise, I felt a surge of courage at her words, emboldening me to challenge the very man whose gaze once intimidated me. But instead of crumbling under his gaze, I chose to press forward. "Why don't we clarify these budget issues you've been sidestepping?" I challenged. His expression darkened, and for a moment, I saw the crack in his polished corporate armor. "You don't know what you're getting into, Jenna," he warned, his voice low and threatening. I leaned in, my voice steady. "Try me. You might be surprised." As we walked away, adrenaline surged through me. Rachel whispered, "We need to act fast. If he knows we're onto something, he'll close ranks and try to erase any evidence." Feeling invigorated, I nodded, visualizing the path ahead. As we plotted our covert investigation, I couldn't shake the tingle of fear and excitement. What if we uncovered something bigger than I imagined? Just then, a small voice interrupted my thoughts. A timid intern I barely knew. Jenna, I overheard something. It sounded important." Her fear was palpable, and my curiosity piqued. What could she possibly have heard? As she hesitated to continue, the air thickened with anticipation. Would this low-level employee hold the key to unraveling Gregory's game? Before we dive deeper into this unexpected lead, remember to hit the like button if you're enjoying Jenna's rebirth through adversity. You won't want to miss what unfolds next. The intern looked around nervously, as if the walls themselves might betray her secret. "I overheard a conversation between Gregory and some higher-ups," she whispered, her voice barely rising above the hum of fluorescent lights. "They mentioned scrubbing the budget reports. And another layoff. Something big is coming." My pulse quickened. "What do you mean, scrubbing the reports?" I pressed, eager to grasp every word she offered. "They were discussing how to clean up the numbers, make it look like nothing was amiss. I think they're covering their tracks," she continued, glancing around again, her eyes wide with urgency. Rachel stepped closer to the intern, her demeanor shifting from professionalism to concern. "And how do you know this? Were you in the room?" The intern nodded, her eyes darting nervously. "I was bringing coffee to the conference room when they were talking. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, I swear. But it sounded serious." I exchanged a glance with Rachel, each of us feeling the weight of this revelation. "You did the right thing by telling us. We need to find evidence of this scrubbing. If we can prove they're manipulating the reports, we can take them down," Rachel said, her determination now crystal clear. "Is there any way you can get access to those reports?" I asked the intern, feeling an exciting surge of hope mingled with fear. "I don't know. I can try," she said hesitantly, "but it won't be easy. Gregory has eyes everywhere. Just keep us posted. We'll handle the rest," Rachel replied, offering her a reassuring smile. As the intern slipped away, I turned to Rachel, feeling the full weight of the moment. "This could be our ticket out of this nightmare," I declared, exhilaration coursing through me. "Exactly. We need to keep the pressure on them, and this information is key. First things first, let's lay a trap. If Gregory is as arrogant as I think he is, he'll slip up," Rachel suggested, her voice brimming with resolve. I nodded, trying to suppress the butterflies fluttering in my stomach. Mitigating risks was one thing. Actively luring my former boss back into my world of scrutiny was another. But I knew if we wanted to regain control, we had to step into the lion's den. We spent the next few days gearing up for our next move, creating a strategy that could expose the company's financial deceit. There was almost a game-like energy to it. My heart raced as we plotted and communicated from our respective positions, exchanging messages and ideas in coffee shops, in the park anywhere that wasn't under Gregory's watchful eye. On DDA, we found ourselves once again outside the glass doorway of the office. My stomach churned in anticipation. Remember, the goal is to gather information without showing our hand, Rachel reminded me, her voice firm. As I stepped through the door, the familiar sense of coffee and paper surrounded me. I made my way to my old desk, trying to act as nonchalant as possible. The buzz of returning to what had felt like home was not lost on me, but the tension was almost unbearable. Then, it happened. I spotted Gregory from the corner of my eye, his shadow slicing through a sea of bustling employees. The way he strode through the office, exuding confidence and authority, made my heart drop. This man had made me feel insignificant, a mere cog in a larger wheel. But today, I was determined to shift the momentum. I took a deep breath, my phone poised at the ready. Surreptitiously, I recorded the everyday workings of the office, capturing snippets of conversations I overheard, and then there it was. My opportunity. As Gregory spoke with a few of the higher-ups in a conference room just off to the side of the main floor, I caught wind of a familiar name in the hushed tones of their conversation. The vendor they had funneled money to. Make sure everything is set for next week's meeting, one of them said. We can't afford any slip-ups, especially with the way the news has been going. I couldn't breathe. I fumbled my phone, almost dropping it, as the realization of their words weighed heavily on me. This was more than budget adjustments. It was a ticking time bomb of potential disaster. Suddenly, Rachel's voice crackled through my earbud, pulling me back from the edge of my thoughts. Jenna, are you okay? What's your status? Finding gold, I whispered back, my heart racing. They're discussing something huge. Something that could blow this whole thing wide open. I'm on my way. Keep your head down and don't attract attention, Rachel cautioned. Moments later, as if summoned by fate, I turned just as Gregory stepped into the hallway. Jenna, he called, his tone deceptively calm. Shouldn't you be out looking for a new job? Maybe, or maybe I'm just doing my due diligence like everyone else, I retorted, forcing myself to meet his hungry gaze. His eyes narrowed, doubt clouding his brows. Look, if you're just here to cause trouble, I'll have security escort you out. Trouble? No. Why would I do that? I said, my voice steady under the pressure. I'm merely a diligent ex-employee. Wouldn't want your reputation to suffer because of mismanagement. The word hung in the air, cracking like ice beneath us. For a moment, doubt flickered in his eyes. You really think you'd get me to believe you have any leverage here? You're a laid-off employee with nothing left, he said, venom lacing his words. But just as Gregory finished his thought, Rachel appeared, confidence radiating off her like a shield. I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss her. She cut in, standing tall beside me. Jenna might just surprise you. I nearly burst with pride at the fierce loyalty Rachel embodied. I think we might be able to help each other. Gregory, I suggested, my voice lowering to a conspirator's tone. We wouldn't want any ugly news to leak, would we? Fear flickered in his eyes for the briefest moment, as if realizing he wasn't in control of the narrative as he once thought. But before he could respond, his phone buzzed on the table behind him, a lifeline of distraction, a new message. Whatever it contained, I knew it could alter everything. I barely suppressed my urge to lean closer, my curiosity a treacherous ally. I'm not here to negotiate anything with you, he said, his walls rushing back up. If you think you can threaten me, you're sorely mistaken. He turned to leave, but with a swift movement, I blurted out, it's not just a threat, Gregory, it's a promise. With one last glare, he strode away, an air of desperate urgency following his retreat. I think we've rattled him, Rachel said, excitement and adrenaline blending in her voice. This is it. We need to dig deeper before they tighten their grip further. Agreed, I nodded, my heart racing with the thrill of our covert conquest. And it's time we discover the truth behind the vendor, and exactly who's pulling the strings. The atmosphere shifted, a static tension buzzing around us. This was no longer about getting an apology. It was about a rebellion against the very backbone of oppression that had kept so many down. Before we could take another step forward, Rachel's phone pinged with an incoming alert. Wait, she murmured, staring intently at her screen. Jenna, you're not going to believe this. I think we have more than we bargained for. As we leaned in, the knot in my stomach twisted with both excitement and fear. What revelation awaited us this time? Before we dive deeper into the unfolding chaos, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because the real battle is only just beginning. Trust me, you're going to want to see how we fight back and uncover the truth once and for all. As the sun dipped below the Chicago skyline, I felt a rush of determination surge through me. Our plan was in motion, and I was no longer the victim, but the architect of my own destiny. Rachel and I huddled in the corner of a nearby cafe, our laptops open, poring over the documents Rachel had managed to obtain. Jenna, look at this, she said, pointing to a glaring discrepancy in the financial statements. The excitement was palpable. This wasn't just about my layoff anymore. This was about a systemic issue that affected everyone. All those employees who had felt the weight of Gregory's cold indifference. We can expose this, I replied, my voice barely a whisper, almost afraid to say it out loud. And just like that, our plan crystallized before us. We decided to reach out to a local investigative journalist known for exposing corporate wrongdoings. There's a risk, Rachel cautioned, her brow furrowed with concern. But the potential reward could mean real change for everyone. I'm in, I declared, adrenaline propelling me forward. This isn't just about vindication. It's about holding them accountable. We worked late into the night, crafting an email that laid out the evidence we'd gathered. As I clicked send, a wave of trepidation washed over me. Had we just opened a Pandora's box? The following days were a whirlwind of anticipation and paranoia. I returned to the office under the guise of routine, my heart racing each time I passed Gregory's office. But as we waited for a response, I felt an unexpected sense of purpose igniting my spirit. Then, the email arrived, a response from the journalist. Let's meet. This sounds promising. The week moved swiftly, and before I knew it, I sat across from the journalist in a sunlit coffee shop, recounting the intricate details of what Rachel and I had pieced together. If what you're saying is true, this could shake things up, he said, leaning in with rapt attention. Over the following weeks, the story unfolded, revealing the layers of deception at my former company. Employees began to step forward, recounting their own stories of unfair treatment. It was a ripple effect that began to resonate throughout the community, compelling many to take a stand against their own exploitations. Then came the day when the article was published. I sat in the cafe, heart racing, as I watched the comments flood in. Finally speaking out. It's about time someone did. Thank you for shedding light on this. And then I saw it, Gregory's name trending among the comments. As details of his questionable practices circulated, I couldn't help but feel a tidal wave of relief wash over me. The fallout was swift. By the end of the week, the board called for an emergency meeting. The glass doors of the corporate office felt different now, charged with palpable energy as employees rallied to voice their support. Together, we were igniting a fire of change. I took a deep breath, standing among my colleagues outside the office as the media began to gather. Rachel, ever the powerhouse, stood beside me, her hand reassuring on my shoulder. We did this together, she said, her voice filled with pride. Then, suddenly, there was Gregory, stepping out from the building, his face a mask of fury and disbelief. You think this is going to end well for you? He snapped, his voice cutting through the air. I steadied my nerves, stepping forward defiantly. It has already ended for you, I replied, revealing my newfound strength. The onlookers cheered, and in that moment, I felt a sense of liberation I never thought I'd grasp. As the media began to crowd around us, capturing every moment, Rachel and I exchanged proud smiles. The fight was more than just personal. It was a catalyst for the numerous unheard voices longing for justice. And then, standing there, in the vibrant heart of Chicago, I realized something profound. I had embarked on a journey from being sidelined to becoming an empowered advocate, not just for myself but for everyone. As the camera flashed, I turned to address the viewers. If you've enjoyed our story and wish to see more journeys of justice unfold, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Together, we can be the change we want to see in the world. With that, I felt an overwhelming wave of purpose. The battle was just beginning, but I was ready to advocate, ready to fight, and ready to reclaim the narrative in my life and the lives of so many others.